is child?
I don't know.
But she was you.
She has no one else.
Initiate Vigilante mode.
Today I'm going to review War of the Planet of the Apes. Before I do so, I just wanted to mention a couple of quick things. Number one, the season premiere of Game of Thrones. So excited, I've been rewatching season 6 just to get prepared. Just can't wait. D23 has happened. There are some kind of new reveals addressed at several panels. The Lion King, some of the other Disney live action films, Infinity War, The Last Jedi. A little disappointed that there wasn't a bigger kind of reveal for episode 8. There is a nice sort of sizzle reel of behind the scenes footage, just like they did for, I guess, for both films, Rogue One and Force Awakens. I'll link it down below. It is pretty cool to just see kind of the direction that they're heading in. Marvel's Infinity War, a little bit more was released, some footage that people weren't particularly expecting, and the word on the street is that it is amazing. Let's get into the review of War of the Planet of the Apes. I did go attend a screening for War of the Planet of the Apes. It was pretty awesome. Matt Reeves, the director, and Andy Serkis were there, along with several other cast members, the young girl who plays Nova, and Steve Zahn, who plays Bad Ape. Take a look at this.
What we were trying to do was a Darwinian biblical epic. Because this is a story of how Caesar is pushed into the realm of the mythic. And what ends up happening in this story is that these are the events that in retrospect might start a religion for apes. But we know that it's very Darwinian, it's that the two species are pitted against each other and the stronger will out, and you see what happens. But there was definitely this desire to push the story elements into this mythic fairy tale, sort of is not a bad way to describe it, mode of storytelling, and absolutely Nova seemed part of that. And yet we also were aware that we were telling a story in a universe of movies that already existed. And one of the things that I've always felt has been exciting about these films is that they're never meant to lead you back exactly to the 68 movie. The Rise changes that timeline, but the one thing we know is that the 68 movie removes the question of what happens. That great ending, which is one of the greatest sort of mind-blowing science fiction endings in the history of cinema, can only be done once. I mean, what are we going to do? We're going to show Disneyland, and this time it really was Earth. It's been done. So what that means is that the story's focus is no longer on the narrative what, it's on the narrative how. And these stories end up being very intimate and about human nature and the nature of these characters that take us toward that world.
I couldn't stay as long as I wanted to stay. I really wish I could have asked a question or two. I couldn't really think of a question that I didn't already know the answer to, or that wasn't in reference to Matt Reeves directing the Batman movie, which we kind of know a bit about already. What was most cool about it, and I think you could probably see this from the footage, he just has a lot of excitement, and you could really sense it, a lot of great excitement for filmmaking and for the process of making films. That got me really excited to just even think about and imagine what he might be doing with this Batman movie, plus having just seen the Planet of the Apes movie. It was pretty cool. War of the Planet of the Apes is part 3 of this trilogy. It all started with Rise of the Planet of the Apes. The follow-up was Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and here we are at War of the Planet of the Apes. I won't really add too much to the whole conversation about maybe the title should have been kind of inverted, but whatever. Ultimately, this was a really damn good film. What's most impressive here is the filmmaking acumen and close attention to detail. In this film, we basically find Caesar a little bit later after Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and everything that happened with Koba. He sort of finally established his community, but there is now this new threat of this military colonel galvanizing as many human beings as he can to try to make sure that apes aren't the dominant species on the planet, and there is a little bit more going on in relation to what happened with the epidemic of the virus, as well as other human factions that are thwarting the plans of all of our other factions. I can't really think of too many things I disliked about the film. It was very engaging, it's very character-driven, character-focused. I would say that the tone, obviously it's a bit dark, and it's very somber. However, they were able to put a lot of great humor and levity into the movie that's mostly brought to you by Steve Zahn. Caesar's not really in there just cracking jokes. I did really like what they, had written kind of on the page. I thought that it was pretty strong. I liked the film. Planet of the Apes, while I am a pretty big fan, I haven't seen like all of the originals. I've seen like the original, and I of course have seen the Tim Burton kind of schlock. Planet of the Apes is not like my favorite franchise. Obviously there's ones that sort of like kind of come before that. It doesn't get me as excited as, Marvel or Star Wars, but this trilogy has taken a cue from Christopher Nolan's style, which is why I think Matt Reeves is such a great choice to direct the next Batman movie. Really focuses on grounding these stories in some sense of reality, and I think that makes it a lot easier to sort of go on that imaginary leap to actually try to believe that apes are evolving into like the new sort of dominant species on the planet. All of that is definitely aided by the incredible, flawless special effects work done by Weta. I think if you look back to the first film, some of the effects work is spotty in places. It's great, but I mean, like, there's some moments that don't really sell you as much. Dawn, I think they took it to the next level. This movie, I would say that the effects work was flawless. I would be really surprised if this doesn't at least get nominated for special effects Oscar. However, there are some strong contenders. I think Valerian had some great CG, and of course, anything Marvel does is pretty awesome. But the special effects aspect really does draw you into the film making even more, into the story even more. Andy Serkis goes without saying. It was so cool to see him live and in person. He was incredible in the film, and I really think that motion capture it needs to get a little bit more respect among the filmmaking community. You don't have that amazing effects work without what Andy Serkis did on set, and all of the other actors as well, including Steve Zahn. He's a fine actor. I think he really understands the mechanics, the technology. He's helping to like kind of improve all of that stuff. Incredible. Woody Harrelson was great. I mean, the guy is a terrific actor. He's such a versatile guy, he can play comedy. He even has a few great, like, witty lines in this film. He can really play these gritty characters, and this character of this Colonel was very, very interesting and compelling. I would have liked a few more scenes, from that character to see a little bit more of what's going on with him and his psyche. But again, I think that they actually learned their lesson from the last two movies, which is that we aren't as invested and don't care as much about the human characters, let's be real. That's one thing that really worked here in this movie. I like the way they sort of closed out this chapter of the Planet of the Apes franchise. I'm interested to see what they do next, if they're planning on doing anything. I was very compelled. I thought it was a good length. I wasn't really bored. I'm gonna give this movie an A. There's not really much more to be said. It doesn't really like stimulate me quite as much as like Marvel and Star Wars. I don't really know why. It was a very well-made film, and again, I think Matt Reeves is one to really watch out for. It's very like concrete. I felt like his filmmaking and his style and his approach was just very like direct, very earnest, and sort of to the point. And I think it's a really good end of this sort of chapter. That's pretty much it for my review for War of the Planet of the Apes. Did you see it? Are you planning on seeing it? If you did see it, what did you think about it? Leave a comment down below. I'm excited and interested to hear what you thought of the film. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. We've had several new subscribers in the last couple of days. Keep sharing the videos, keep liking the videos if you really do like the content. Until next time.
Vigilante mode, deactivate.